Hello friends, I am here to give you a look at my latest Lego project. I am a huge Lego enthusiast. I liked it a little bit as a kid, had a couple of sets, but I actually got into it more as an adult, as a way to de-stress. I'm a high school teacher by day and I love my job, but it is really intense and it's something that can really consume my brain and the rest of my life if I'm not careful. And so I found myself really needing something to work on in my own brain that would allow me to just let go of the day that I'd had, be completely in the moment and de-stress. And I found that in Lego. I started building just a couple of small sets and it has slowly escalated till now, and I build quite big sets. So my most recent project that I streamed on Twitch over the course of 6 weeks was Assembly Square. This is a part of the Expert Creator modular series, which I only just discovered, and I'm really devastated because there's a lot of sets in this series that have since been retired and therefore are massively expensive to find that I would love to build. But at the end of last year, I built the Birch Bookshop and just fell in love with the way it came together and also with the way it looks, because I found that I don't just love the build itself, which is really relaxing and meditative, but then they just end up being decorations in my room. And so kind of my Christmas present, end of year present to myself at the end of 2021 was the Assembly Square, which is a massive 4,000 piece set from this particular series. The only other set of this size I built before was the Disney Castle, so this was a huge undertaking. It did not feel as big as the Disney Castle, funnily enough, and streaming it live on Twitch as well was something really different, interacting with people. I'm usually very much in my own head. I feel like I was more prone to making mistakes when I was building this one, but it was wonderful and it's the most beautiful set and I love all the little details in it, so let's have a look at it. So streaming a build like this on Twitch was interesting because I was interacting with people and very conscious of people watching me. It took me a little while to kind of figure out how to best set all of this up. But it was such a fun experience getting to share this absolute passion of mine with so many people, and a lot of other Lego enthusiasts joined the stream as well and gave me lots of advice. And something that I started doing that I've never done before in my builds was sorting out the pieces before I built it. I used to just dump it all and just sort through. But this process apparently is called knolling. I learned this from other Lego enthusiasts, and I would lay out a piece of fabric. I eventually bought a piece of felt that was much easier to use, and just bag by bag I organized them all into the different kinds of pieces, and I could not believe the difference that it made. For a start, it was a really good way to begin and also to see all the pieces before I was going to use them in the build. But then as I was going through to know exactly where to find everything, to not have that moment where I was like, oh no, there is a piece missing, I couldn't believe the difference that it made. It just made the whole thing go so much faster, and particularly because I was doing it on Twitch, it's not a very interesting thing to see me like rifle through a pile of bricks, and that sound wouldn't have been very pleasant either. So it did make it go so much faster and easier, especially because I was streaming it. It was very easy for me to get a bit lost and sometimes forget what I was up to. I made more mistakes as I went on than I probably usually would, just because, you know, I was distracted and I was doing other things. But this was such a great build. It was very much done in these modular pieces. So that's what I love about this series, is that it's designed to actually come apart and to be all of these separate rooms. So there was a number of parts to 3 buildings. There was shops, there was an apartment, there was a ballet studio, and they were all very much built separately before being put together at the end. And I didn't pay much attention to what was on the box. So as I was building the rooms, I was realizing what they were and being like, oh, I think this is a dentist's office. Oh, there's instruments in here. This must be a music store. And so that was a really fun way to do it as well, because I was kind of getting all the little surprises for what it was going to turn into as it went. And then when it all finally came together after 6 weeks, about 3 hours each session, so about 18 hours, it was just amazing to see. Also, it's really hard to get a sense of the scale of this, but this thing is huge. So let's take a little bit of a closer look, shall we? This is it from the front. It's all these little details of the facades of the buildings are just gorgeous. Down here we have a little bakery with a wedding cake in the window, and then across the square a little bit we have the florist. A little bit hard to see in there, but there are all kind of little flowers in the window, and of course some tools on the outside. We've got the fountain right in the section of the square. There's one of our minifigures. Over here we have the little cafe, and you can see there's some pie in the window there. And upstairs there's a number of other different spaces and shops, which we'll take a closer look at when we can pull it all apart. Like I said, it works kind of like a doll's house, so it's designed not to be completely locked in together. So if I take this roof off, here you can see the Ballet Studio. I loved building this, building the little piano, and also the little mirror that is in there. I was just floored by this space. And then underneath that you have the music shop. It is true that you have to basically go through the bottom floor and through the music store to get to the Ballet Studio, but you know, it can't be perfect. So we've got the guitars on the walls there, we've got the little drum kit. It's a bit tricky, but there's a little saxophone in there that's really cute. So we do have a music store in there, and that sits all on top of this cafe. And so you can see, again, we've got a cash register, we've got the barista in there, we've got the little pieces of pie, and the stairs are all up the back. So you go through all of those floors to get to the music store and the Ballet Studio on top. Then on the right, we have a little apartment in here. We've got a woman and her child playing on the mat there, and this kind of recliner seat that didn't make a lot of sense to me. There's a few details in here that I still am trying to figure out what they are, but you know what? Whatever. And then the second floor of both of these buildings, you can see we've got a dentist office. This took me a while to figure out. This was really tricky, all of these really fiddly bits, but there is a dental surgery in there with the little sink and the tools and everything. And then if we go a little bit over here, this is a photography studio, and this is just really simple, but the really special detail about this is this old-fashioned looking camera, which I'll take out so you can have a closer look. I just think that's a really incredible little piece that was fun to put together. And then we look to the bottom floor of this building to the right. We just take that off like that. And then you can get a closer look inside the bakery. There's a whole bunch of little details and baked goods in there. You can see we've got some croissants and some other cakes. We've got our chef behind his glass display case in there. And then over there we've got the florist that even has a little store bird. There's a parrot that lives in the florist. You love a good store bird. And so, yeah, those are all the details inside. The back has also got a number of details, like the vines crawling up the back. And this building in the middle has this like little patio barbecue area that you can access as well. And then of course we've got back stairs, so you can actually get into all of the spaces. And that's it. It's such a beautiful set. I loved building this. I just want more of these modular sets. Of course, so many of them are retired now, but thank you to everyone who watched me build it, and we'll see you for the next build.